Okay, I'm not sure where I left off with the spark plugs. So what I'm making today is the very tip. In the drawing it calls out for a lock nut on the 440 screw in the end of the spark plug. Right here. And instead of a nut, I'm taking a piece of brass, knurling it, and I'm going to make a knurled lock nut. It's not really it's a nut, around a knurled nut, and then a knurled end for it. So I'll show you what I'm doing. So the first thing I'm doing is I put 3/16 material in the lathe here, and it's already been knurled once. I'm going to knurl it again here. This is leftover stock from what I had. Let's see if I can zoom in here. You can see there is a bit of a knurl on it already from last project. But we're going to wheel her in here and see if both wheels hit at the same time. Or close to. It's got to go down a little bit. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to come off of that, and we're going to crank her in 10, 20 thousandths. And turn the lathe on, and what RPM are we running here? Oh, we don't want to run that fast. Got it set at set at 1,000. Let's go to 200. Go up to 200. Put a little oil, or actually I should use this sticky stuff. It'll stay on the wheel better. There we go. And I've got my power feed engaged. And we'll knurl it up to the collet there. There, flip this direction, and we'll feed back off of there. Knurling, you're not supposed to really get chips. You're supposed to be pressing in and moving the material around, not making chips. If you're making chips, then you have your wheel digging in, and it's happened to me many a time. And as a matter of fact, I see chips on there right now. It looks like the top wheel was actually hitting before the bottom. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have to go back in there again. The end of it, the knurl is okay. I cranked it in a little bit more. I think about 10 thou. Just going to let it sit there and run a little bit before I back out of it. Now we'll back out. And let's see what we have. Could that be that I have my wheels too flat? You know what? I think that's good enough. That's a good enough knurl there. So, first thing I do is put a little tiny chamfer on the end of that. So, shift her back into a little higher range. Put chamfer tool in there. And I'm just gonna put a small chamfer on it, basically to break that. Oh, wait a minute now. I thought I flipped gears here. Let's see. All right. Oh, I've moved the. Wow. It's the first time I've done that. Moved the wrong lever. Well, I'm just going to come in here and just break that edge just a little bit. Like that. That'll be the edge up against the other nut. Or up against the end that. So it's a 440. We need a drill size of 89 calipers. Okay, I got a bit something to show you here a little bit. I've had this for 35 years, I think, without a scratch on it. It's my calipers. You can see I put at the right. You can see I got my name on it. I have a doctor's insignia on it, etched on it. And what did I do yesterday? I had it laying on the bench below a shelf. Something fell off the shelf. Look what it did. Took out the crystal. So I ordered another crystal yesterday. Didn't hurt anything else on it. Thank goodness. This caliper is a Mitutoyo, and it was like they had a special order one that at that time, I don't know if they continue with it or not, but it has carbide faces. It's carbide here and here, up here and here. So I don't even know if they're available today. I've never looked to see, but I was pretty bummed. But yeah, gotta go on. Gotta be careful. I had laid something on the shelf that I shouldn't have laid on the shelf, basically, and came tumbling down and right on the calipers. Like I say, I've had that for 30 some years. That was my second calipers. My first calipers was just a regular without carbide faces, and I kind of wore the faces out, checking end mills and stuff. So that's why I went with the carbide face. I found Mitutoyo was offering that at a, geez, I think it was like, at that time, 35 years ago, I think it was like 250 bucks. Like I say, I don't know if you can even get them now. I don't know. You might be able to get them yet. Feels like I got this. Feels like I'm going up against the chip in there. Drill, pushing the drill back into the truck. Definitely. There we go. Got through it. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That should be plenty of material. So now we got to tap that to a 440. And get a tap. Yeah, I was pretty bummed out yesterday when that happened. Like I say, it's like injuring an old friend. And I had that so many years that I never put a mark on that calipers, but one of my coworkers grabbed it, used ID jaw or pointers, and then wiggled it around and busted the tips off the carbide, so I had to have the carbides reground. Never lend your tools out. I didn't even lend it out. It was laying on top of my toolbox and he grabbed it. Same one that grabbed my parallels, messed those up. Same one that messed up my knees. And and if you work with me and you're watching this video, you know exactly who I'm talking about. He was a troublemaking jerk. All right, now grab my thin blade part off tool, and I want that knurled nut to be probably, I don't know, 60, 70 thou thick, I would guess, somewhere around in there. I'm just laying my calipers on the spark plug here. Yeah, I'm going to say 70 thou. So, where'd my scale go? It down here on the floor. So I'm just going to hold the scale up there and, well, actually I'm just going to touch off and go my 50 for the part out blade, and then I'm going to go 70. I'm going to make that nut 70 thou thick. Got my fingers in there holding it, because if that falls down in the chips, I'm never going to find it, or in the chip barrel or chip tray. Okay. Trying to hold it up for the camera. There it is, but it's not very big. That'll screw on there, and that'll be the lock nut. So now I want the very end piece, and that I'm going to make a lot longer. I'll make that like 200, 220, whatever it takes. First I want to put a chamfer on that. Yeah, I want to put a chamfer on that, on the end of that first. On this end, it'll be the top of the spark plug, so I want a pretty good chamfer on it. You're not seeing anything, are you? I'm moving over here. I need to get a different setup for my camera here. You know, something from up above. Alright, so we're going to chamfer this pretty good. And then I'm going to hit it with a file. Kind of round the top, I think. I actually should put a groove in it too, but I don't know. My part off blade. That's my wide one. What did I do with my... Oh, down here. Alright, this is 50 thou. What did I say? 200, 220? Alright, there's touching. Here's my 50, and then I go 1, 200. I'm going to go 225. I'll grab that too. A little bit bigger, but there we go. So there it is. So I'm going to go ahead, and what I'm going to do is take a stone and stone that end off so it's flat. Same thing with the other one, and I'll kind of assemble it how it's going to be on the spark plug, and then I'll come back and I'll show you. Okay, so here's the spark plug, and that's what the end is. I'll cut the bolt head off, and then I have to drill a hole in the center of that bolt for the electrode. And the other end, it crawled for a crossbar across there. I didn't like that because I have visions of that crossbar, even though you crimp it, letting loose and messing up the... So, and there's, I angled them in. I angled them in just a tad, and the gap is sufficient right to the outside. So that's what I'm going to do. So we need to take and put the bolt into a I have split collets for it, for bolts, and then drill a hole in the end for the electrode. And I got to figure out how deep that spark plug is going to go into the hole also, or into the insulator. So we'll take that apart again. And apart again, I have the split collet here. It's all it is a threaded collet that's split. So what I'm going to do is I want to figure out how deep I want to put the screw in there. I want to go as far as I can. Like that. And then I'm just going to take a file and make a mark on that screw. A small file, not a big one. And this, and all I'm going to do is just take and that way I can see where it has to be cut off at. Oh no! I gotta have my two pieces that I just made on there. That wouldn't work. That wouldn't work very good. You big dummy. I took it apart. I should have left it together. So, turn those pieces on there and try it again. We'll try it again here. You know what? All I need to do is just cut off the head of that bolt. And cut off the head of that bolt, then we can put it together. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and hack that off with the Dremel part off, and then put it in that collet and drill a small hole in the end of it, probably 150 thou deep. That way the electrode will come up and go into that. In the electrode, I'm going to super glue, put super glue on it to hold that into place. So I'll be back when I'm set up and have this head cut off, and then I'll be back when I get it all done here. When I get ready to put the electrode in. So I'll just go ahead and do this, and then when I put the electrode in, I will come back and I'll show you how I'm doing that. Okay, got the spark plug here, and got the screw cut off and the hole drilled in it for let's move you a little closer here. Can't get you much closer. Like I say, I need to get it set up for this bigger camera too. So I am going to try to turn this out of here with the lock nut in place. So that I can put, and I had a little bottle of super glue here somewhere. Oh, right here. I used to buy the big tubes of super glue, and then I discovered these like single use, and it's perfect. You put them all in the fridge except for the one that you're using, and that way you don't waste a bunch, because those big tubes, I never used all of it out of. It'd always get hard, or the tube would mess up, or okay, so we're going to turn that in with super glue on it. Hopefully I'll get it in there before the super glue starts to set. That's about as far as I'm going to get it, I think. Lay this up here. Yeah, I didn't get it in all the way yet. That's okay though. That's okay that I didn't get it in all the way, because I can just file off the top. Now I want to make sure I don't have any super glue in there on the outside of this to bind up the where's my alcohol? Alcohol, believe it or not, will definitely, it speeds up the cure of the super glue, but not only speeds it up, it weakens it. It turns it into like a white crusty, I don't know, breathing on it, because super glue sets up with moisture, takes moisture out of the air, and breathing on it, if you just take and put a couple breaths on it, it usually I'm just going to dab alcohol around it, make sure that there's no super glue on that. A lot of times I'll just take and then breathe on it, and boom, it's set up. And like I say, super glue sets up by taking moisture out of the air. So. Oop, don't lose that. It's a little long, so I'm going to take a file and file the end down a little bit so that it's not protruding out when the top is screwed on it. It's not a whole lot. Plus I want a little bit of a crown to the top of it. I'm turning it in my fingers and trying to put like a crown radius on the top of it. Make a nice little crown on top. Turn this on. Got to remember that there'll be a wire in there, what it's going to tighten down on. So it is poking out a little bit yet, but that's fine, because in use it'll probably be about like that. So if you can see that or not, but yeah, it's so now we got to put the electrode in there, and I just happen to have some material here. It's just that I have to file off the end here. It's got a crimping where I cut it. And go around it and put a little bit of a radius on it so it will go into the screw in the inside there, and slide that in. Should be able to feel it when it engages into the screw, if I can get it in there. There we go. So now we need to make a mark on there, or well, I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to cut it with the Dremel tool. I'll just cut it off right there, carefully. Cut it off flush. I'm making it about the same length as the brass hangs we left on there. Should do. Now I need to pull that out of there. Where's my... See if I can get a hold of it with my... Here we go. Now we take and put a drop of super glue on it. I'm going to shove that all the way in there. There we go. Looks like the gap on put this cap on the super glue here. Looks like the gap on the one side is a little wider than the other. Yeah, so I'm going to just turn that in a little bit more carefully without breaking it off. Go for about a 30 or so gap. Not sure what the calipers are. I always thought they're around 20. Yeah, they're only 10. I'm gonna get feeler gauge here. I want about a 28 gap. I'm not sure what they call out in the, but that's what I'm gonna go for. 28 to 30. 30 would be fine also. 30 it's going to be. Okay, camera shut off again. Battery was dead, but I set the gap at 30 thou on both sides, so it's got spark. It can spark either way. Now I want to take and unthread this if I can. And what I want to do is I want to put a little bit of silicone sealant down in there. And it doesn't have to be much. Just going to take a little drill shank here and try to dab some in there, because you know these threads are not pipe threads, so that they're not going to seal, but they wouldn't leak that much anyway. So I got it all the way around, so there's some underneath the screw, and we'll turn that down tight. That should help seal up everything. Now, clean up my mess here. Oh, here. Let's say I had a Q-tip here with I can get a Kleenex. Maybe that I can get in there with that. Trying to get the stuff going outside. Get that. I'll be back.